Hey guys, welcome back to another video of Foxandroid. So finally the day has come when we are going to create a real world project. You heard me right. We are going to create a complete project, not just a tutorial that will be solving some problem or will be teaching a single concept of Android development. This is not that type of tutorial. We'll be creating a whole project, a whole app that will be running on your device in this tutorial. So I want to put out a disclaimer that this is not a 10, 15 or 20-minute video. The duration of this video can go up to 2.5 hours, right? Because we are going to create a complete app. So definitely the duration for this video will be long. So if you're deciding to watch this tutorial, then make sure that you complete it. I'm not saying that just complete it in a single go. I know that it's a complete project. You'll take some time, you'll take breaks, but make sure that you write the whole code to learn the concepts very effectively, right? I personally feel that if you write your code by your own hand and not just copying it from the GitHub, it gives you a great deal of clearance on the concepts, right? So let me just demonstrate that what I'm talking about, right? I've just talking since the video started, but let me just show you that what we're gonna get by the end of this video. So if you can see on my emulator, I have this app open, right? And you can see some nodes are there in a staggered format, right? I can scroll them and let us just talk feature by feature. So the very first feature for this nodes app will be definitely we can create a new node. So if I just tap on this button and I just name it as node 5 and we just put in some data, for example, my name, and we put some empty space and just tap here. So if I just go down, you can see this node has been created. And you must have noticed one more thing, that the space or the size of the node is defined by the content of the node, right? So the longer the content, the size of the node will automatically be increased. Second thing, we have recorded the time on which this node has been created for the first time, the date, day, and the time. So the time is 12:26 a.m. and date is 14th of October and day is Friday. So that will be recorded on all the nodes, right? You can see here, and all the nodes have different color, right? You can see that, and it automatically changes. You just remember these colors. If I just close this app, reopen this app, you can see again the color has been changed. The second feature is, can we delete the node? Of course, if we are creating an app, then definitely the node should get deleted. So if I just long press on this, we get here a pop-up saying delete. If I just tap on delete, make sure you watch that node 3 should get deleted. So you can see node 3 has been deleted and this staggered view has been updated in real time, right? So node 3 has been deleted and all the nodes have shifted upwards. That is the second feature. Can we edit the node? Is it possible? No, it is not. Just kidding. Definitely we can edit the node because we are creating a nodes app, and definitely you want to edit the nodes at times. So I can just simply tap on any node, right? So I can just delete some data. For example, I want to delete till here, right? You can just tap on this button. So I forgot, I guess it was node 5 if I'm not wrong. So this node has been updated, right? And the last feature will be, can we search some nodes? For example, I have 100 of nodes, right? I just can't go to a single node to look out for a particular node. So I can just type in some keyword. For example, I want to type grocery, right? So these two nodes is having the keyword grocery, or let's just say that I want the nodes that has car. So this node is having car, lorem. So all these nodes is having a keyword called lorem. So we can search the nodes, right? So this is all the features. I guess these are the major features that we use in an app that we use day to day. I'm sure that all of us uses nodes apps. So now you need not to rely on someone else's app, right? You can develop your own app and run on your device, and you can save your notes in your own app, right? So this is what we'll be getting by the end of this video. Make sure you watch this tutorial till the end and you develop the same app, right? So without much ado, let's get started. So guys, if you're into this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and press the bell notification icon for receiving notification of the upcoming videos. And by the end of the video, if you like the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button as well. So let's just start with the tutorial. So first of all, we are going to create a new project, right? So we'll just go here and empty project only. We'll name it as nodes YT tutorial, right? We'll name it something like this. The language will be Kotlin and the minimum SDK it will support is 24 only. So we'll just finish this. So let's just wait for the build to be completed. So it will build the project, then we'll start. So okay guys, the new project has been created. So the very first thing that we are going to do is we are going to add certain dependencies. So we'll just expand this Gradle scripts. Then we'll go to build.gradle, the app level build.gradle, right? So here we'll go, and here in dependencies, we need to add certain dependencies. So I have already copied the dependencies that are required for this app. So basically we need the room, right? Room DB dependencies, then we have view model and coroutines, right? So I'll give you the link for the notepad file in which I have written all these dependencies that are required. You can just directly go to the link in the description below and download that notepad file. You simply just copy these dependencies and paste it here. Then we'll just sync the project. It may take a while depending on your network speeds because it's gonna download certain things. So here are some I guess we got some error. Okay, because here we need to define a plugin as well. So let me just copy that as well. So now we'll just try again. So you can see it's downloading and then it's gonna build the project. So let's just wait for a while and see if okay. So it got finished. So we have successfully added the dependencies. So you can see you need to add this plugin and you need to paste in these dependencies here, right? So after that, we are going to enable this view binding as well. So build features view binding as true. Sync again. So okay, the sync has been completed. So we are done with the dependencies. That is all we need to do inside this file, right? So we'll just close this. Then we are going to start with our front end part. So this is our main activity, right? So first we are going to design our front end thing. So for that, just right click here and Android source directory menu. Okay, so we have created this directory here. So the very first thing what we need inside this activity is we need a search view. If you have seen that app that I have demonstrated at the starting of the tutorial, we need a search view here. Then we have a floating button here, right? Then we have a Recyclerview. So I'll just simply delete this and I'll import a Recyclerview, right? Then we had that search view as well and floating action button, right? Okay. So this is all we need. So let us just constrain these things one by one. Okay, floating action button has not been added because I need a drawable source file. So just go here and go to vector assets. Just double tap here, add this one, next, finish. So now add a floating action button and you can see where is my add button. Okay, think we're good to go. Okay, we have added, just add it to the constraint layout, right? Let me just arrange this. Okay, so okay guys, the very first thing is we are going to work with this search view. So I'll just constrain it on three sides to the parent. So top, left and right, I'll just constrain it. Then we'll just go to the split window. And for the height, I'll just mention action bar size, right? So where is our search view? So this is our search view, right? So okay guys, now we are going to work out with this cycler view. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the constraints. So I'll set the start to the parent and the end to the parent as well, and to the bottom to the parent as well. Okay, and we want to set the constraint of the top of the cycler view to the bottom of the search view, right? So I guess we have got that right. And I just want to set the height as 0 dp because these constraints will do that part, right? So if I just set to 0 dp, I can see this is taking this space. And we want to set the id as well. So id will be, let's just call it as a cycler view only, right? And that is pretty much everything for the cycle view, I guess. Now we are going to go out with this floating action button. So I just want to constrain the bottom to the parent. Got, yeah. So we are going to constrain it to two sides only, the bottom part and the right part, right? And now we are going to set certain like margins, because we just don't want it to stick around to the parent on all the sides. So I am going to set some constraints here. So yeah, let me just go to the design mode and select this margin. I'll select the margin here, right? So start, this one is end, I guess. I'll just set it to 26 dp. Looks good. And to the bottom is 26 dp as well, right? So I guess this is the location that where we want our floating action button to be. And yeah, so now here also we just don't want to completely line with the parent, so we want certain margin here as well. So for this we are going to set the margin for this as 16 dp maybe. Yeah, looks fine, right? And we want to give the elevation as well, so 8 dp, right? So this is our search view. We want the hint as well. So for the hint, we'll write here search nodes, right? And let's just see if it comes out here. Okay, we are not getting it. Let's just go to the design code mode and see. Yeah, we have got the query hint as well. Okay, let's just see why we can't see the text here. Okay, so there is one more attribute that is iconified by default. We need to set it to false. So yeah, I can see, we can see the text. So that is pretty much everything for this main activity. Now we are going to create a list item for this. So let's just go new layout resource file. So I'll just name it as list underscore item, right? And I guess that is good to go. Let's just click here. So okay, I just want to change it to card view, right? And we are going to set the width as match parent and height as wrap content, all right? And then we are going to set the margin here. So layout margin will be 8 dp, I guess. And then we're going to set the background as white. Yeah, corner radius should be 8 dp. Guess we are good to go. Yeah, so in the list item we need three things: the title and the summary of the node and the date on which the node was created, right? So here we'll set the elevation as well. Let's just set it to 8 dp only. So first I'm going to take a linear layout, right? And we are going to set the width to match parent and the height to wrap content only, and we are going to set the orientation for this as well. So orientation should be vertical, right? So inside this linear layout we are going to take a relative layout, and the width and height should be same, so match parent and wrap content, right? So first just let's take a text view. So the width should be match parent and the height should be wrap content, right? And then we should give it a id, I guess. So id is tv underscore title, right? So align parent start as true. We just set the text as title. Text color should be black, right? The text size should be 26. The text size should be 18 dp, I guess, right? So let's just keep it this way only. So inside this relative layout I just want to set this, and then we're going to take two more text views. So let me just copy this one only. So I'm going to paste it 2 more times. So let's just change id first. So this will be note and tv date, right? So okay, and this size we're going to set in sp. The size for this should be 14 sp, and this one should be 14 sp as well, right? And here I'm going to the title of note, and here we are going to set the date, right? So this is a rough layout for our list item, right? So let us just keep it this way. We are going to modify it at the later stage by looking at how it looks in our app. So I'll just go to main activity, and here inside the recycler view we are going to set the list item as list item, right? So this is how our recycler view will look like, right? So now I'm going to create a new activity to edit the node, right? Just go here, new activity. So I'm going to select an empty activity, node add, or okay, just keep it as add node. Yeah, that's good. So okay guys, we have got this new activity called add node. So we'll be using this activity for adding new nodes, right? So let's just go to this activity, and here we are having a constraint layout, so we'll be using this one only. Now the very first thing we are going to add is we are going to add a toolbar, and then we are going to add two edit text, right? So plain text I'm be adding here, and one more edit text. We'll be adding edit text, second one. Yeah, so we got these two edit texts. So what we'll do is the first one will be used for adding the title, and the second one will be used for adding the note, right? So now we are going to style it. So inside, if I just go to split window, so okay, the height here will be wrap content match parent. This looks fine. So inside this I'll be adding a relative layout. So the width for this will be wrap content, and height will be wrap content as well. So now inside this we are going to add two image views, because here in the toolbar we have seen that we had two image views. The first one is the back arrow and the second one is check arrow. So for that we need to add two drawable source vector assets. So I'll just search for check, yeah, this one. right? Next, finish. And the second one we need is the back arrow. I guess I should, yeah, this one, arrow back. Next, finish. So now we are going to go to the design window, image view. So inside our relative layout, we are going to add the arrow. You should go under relative layout, and the second one was yeah, image view only. So image view, and this one will be this particular thing. Yeah. So for this edit text, I'll just constraint it to the parent on the start and the end, right? Yeah, the bottom to the parent as well, and the top to the toolbar, right? Oh, I guess I need to delete this particular thing. Okay, I'll do it there itself. We'll just go to split window, tap here, this one, I guess, the okay, this bottom constraint, we don't need this. Yeah, so the secondary text. So for this second text, okay, let me just first okay, yeah, this one I'll constrain it to the start of this text view. Yeah, so this one to here, and this to the top of this, right? Now we are going to change the IDs first. So this will be ET title, right? Yeah, refactor. And the second one will be ET underscore note. Yeah. So okay, now we need to just align these things. So what we have added, we need a toolbar, we have added that, we need to edit text, right? So now I'll just change certain attributes to look like the way it was looking in the app, right? So first, just let's go to toolbar. So yeah, this is our toolbar. So for this, we'll constrain it to the parent, top to the parent as well, and we'll set the width as 0 dp. Yeah, right. So for the background, we'll set white color. So the hex code for that is this one, right? So okay, now let us just set these images. So this one will be align parent end. We'll set it to true only, right? So it goes at the end, and for this we are going to add certain padding. So padding should be 8 dp. Yeah, and similarly for this as well. So we are going to add certain padding here as well. We'll do that as 8 dp only. Looks good. So now let me just change its ID. So I'll name it as img back arrow, right? And this one as img, let's just call it as check only, right? Perfect. So yeah, our toolbar looks fine. I guess I need to give certain padding here. So let me just do that. Let's just add the margin here. So margin end as 12 dp maybe. 14, we can do that 14 as well. Yeah, looks fine. So now we're going to work on these titles. So Let me just change certain attributes. The very first thing is we are going to set its width as 0 dp, right? And we are going to give some margins. So the margin start should be 16 dp, and then we are going to give a margin on the top as well. So margin top should be 12 dp, or we can make it 8 dp, I guess. Yeah, looks perfect. So the margin on the end should be 16 dp as well, right? Now the next thing is we do not want any background for this. So background at the rate null. Let's just see how it goes. Okay, let's just get rid of this, and instead of this we are going to add hint. Hint will be title, right? And just add the text size as well, and we're going to set as 26 sp. Yeah, looks good. You can see, I think this particular et looks very good. Now we'll just move on to this one. So here as well we are going to set the width as 0 dp because we are using the constraints, right? So the height as 0 dp as well. The next thing is we are going to add certain margin. So let's just add the margin on the top as 26 dp, I guess. Let's just see how it looks. Okay, I just forgot to constrain it at the bottom. So yeah, this will be the space between the title and the note. I think it looks good. So we're going to delete this text. Instead, we are just type the hint as start typing, right? And but we do not want this at the center, we just want it at the top. So for that the very first thing is I just don't want any background, so I'll just set the background as null. And for this we can use the attribute gravity to the top. Let's just see. Okay, you can see that we have moved this text to the top. And one more attribute we'll be using here is line spacing multiplier. Let's just set it to 1.8. So what it'll do is whenever you are typing any note, right, so there should be certain distance between or certain margin between the two lines. So if you just one is the normal line spacing, so we have just multiplied it with 1.8. It just really gives a nice look to your note, right? While someone is typing, it looks more readable. So that is all. So I guess we are pretty much done with this activity as well. So now we are going to create this menu. So just right click here, new menu source file, right? So you can just give it any name. So I'll give it as Popup menu because this will contain only one item of deleting the notes. So Popup menu. Let's just go to the split window and add the item here. So item, just give it ID. Delete note, and we'll set the title here as delete, right? And that's pretty much everything. We need this for menu bar. So okay, and now we are going to themes, and I just don't want any action bar here, so I'll just set it to no action bar, right? So we have created two activities, a list item, a menu item. So we are good for this time for the front end part. So we'll be modifying this as and when required. As if now we have made everything. So we have these two activities. So let me just quickly go through this. So we have this activity. So this is the main activity. where your all nodes will be there, right? So whenever user taps on this button, add new node, you'll be directed to this particular activity. Here you'll set the title and the description of the node, and if he taps here, then that node will be saved and he'll be directed to this particular activity, right? So this is our front end part. Let us just see if we have given the IDs. Let us just change this as FB and note. Yes, good. Yeah. So now let us just move to the backend code and create certain packages here. So right click here, new package. So the very first one should be adapter, right? Then we have got utilities, right? Then we have got database. Last one is models. Yeah. So we have created these packages because we want that the source code files that will be generating here, right? So we'll be creating certain classes. So every class or every code file should be stored in particular directory. So it is more readable and it is more standard practice, right? So we have created these 4 packages, and inside this we'll be creating certain files, right? So let's just first go to main activity, but here we do not need to modify anything as of now. So first we are going to create certain classes. So the very first thing is we are going to create a data class. So why are we creating that data class? Because we want to store our nodes, right? So what all the content does a node have? It will be having a title, the description, the date, right? These 3 things we need to store. So how will be storing it to the local device? We'll be storing that into the database. So for that we need a data class. So just we are going to store it inside this models package. So just right click here, new Kotlin class, and just select data class. So we are going to name it as node only. So we have got this class here, and inside this we are going to specify all the elements of this data class. But first we are going to annotate it with entity because we are going to use this in the room DB. So for that we need to mention here entity, and we have to give the table name. So table name. So I'll give the name as notes table, right? So for this, for storing data into the table, we need the ID. So the very first element will be the ID. So ID of type int. The second element will be the title, right? That will be of type string. The third thing will be note itself. That will also be of the type string. The last thing will be date. We are going to store that as well in the form of a string, right? Okay, just yes. So certain annotations are required here as well. So this will be the primary key. Right, and we are going to set it to auto generate as true because we are not going to pass this ID. It should be automatically created, and this is column info. The name will be title only, and then here we're going to name the column as tool. we're going to set it as note only. The name of the last column will be date. Column info name as. So we have created a data class. So what this class will do is it defines that how our object of the node will look like. This particular object, whenever the object of this class will be created, then we are going to have three things that will contain, actually four things, right? The title of the node, the node itself, right, the main node, and the date on which that node was created. And for storing this to the database, any database, we need the ID, right? So this ID will be automatically generated by RoomDB. So this is the first class that we need. So the second class will be DAO that we are going to create here. So if you do not know about RoomDB, then I have a complete series on this. I'll just put the link for that in this I button somewhere here, right? So you can just go there and you can watch that video if you want. I guess there will be 3 videos in that playlist if you're not aware about RoomDB. So DAO is also a concept of RoomDB only, actually MVVM, but I have explained it there in that video. So we are going to create an interface here, and I'm going to name it as node DAO. So we are going to annotate it with DAO, and inside this we are going to create certain functions. So the very first one will be insert, and we are going to get the node as an argument of the type node. And we are going to annotate it with insert. The second function will be delete. Here also we'll get the node and we're going to delete that. Similarly, we're going to annotate it with delete. The third one is get all nodes, and it will return live data. That will be the list of nodes, right? And the last function that we are going to create is update. So here we are going to get ID of the node that we need to update. So ID of type int, obviously, the title of type string. The third thing we are going to get is the node itself, right? Of type string. Yeah, so now here we need to define certain things. So here we need to define on conflict. So now I'm not going into the details of this, but this we have defined that on conflict, if there is a conflict between the node that we are going to insert and there is already a node there, then you should replace that. And here as well, sorry. So we need to annotate it with query. Update. Update nodes table set title is equal to title, node is equal to node, where ID is equal to, right? So what we have done is, whenever this method will be called, this update method will be called, we'll be getting the ID of the node that we need to update and the title that should, the new title, right? If someone has changed the title, then we'll be getting this title and the node. So what we have passed here in the query is that you should update the nodes table where title is equal to the new title and node is equal to new node, and where ID is equal to this ID. So you update the node with this ID and you should replace the content of the node as per these two arguments, right? And here also we need to pass a query select all from nodes table, and we want to order by ID sending, right? So whenever this method will be called, get all nodes. So when we will be getting this, so when we want to fill the Recyclerview, we want the all the nodes that are stored into the DB. So what will we told the database, or we have passed the query that we want the all the nodes that are stored in the nodes table, and it should be, we should get those nodes in the ascending order by the ID, right? So I guess we are pretty much done with our this DAO interface class as well. So yeah, and I guess you must be aware about this suspend, because whenever we want to run these function in the coroutine, that means on the background thread, then we have to define it as a suspend function. So otherwise we could not call it in on the coroutines, right? So that's why I was saying, if you want to get into details of these things, I have a playlist, you can watch that playlist. And if you're aware about coroutines and roomdb, then you're good to go. Need not to watch that playlist, right? You can just continue with this as well. So after this, we are going to create a new class. So Kotlin class, and we are going to name it as not database, right? And we are going to annotate it with database entities array of small here. So after that, version is 1 and the export schema is false, right? So this is the annotation that we need to give to this class. And after that, we are going to create an abstract function, right? And we're going to name it as get node DAO. So okay, it's giving some error because we have not made this class abstract. So let's just make this as abstract class. So you know that for the database class, so basically this particular class will be responsible for creating the database for your app, right? So there should be one instance of this class in your whole app. So if the database is already created, or if you created the object of this class, then the same object should be accessible throughout the app. So for that, we are going to follow the singleton method, in which only one object of particular class is created throughout the app, right? So for that, we are going to create a companion object, right? Private var instance of node database one get database, and here we'll be getting the context, the return type will be, it will return the object of this class itself, right? Return instance, this room dot database builder context dot application context, dot build, right? So okay, this is the node database class. We have created an abstract function for getting the node DAO object. So we have called it as get node DAO. Now this is the singleton pattern in which only single object of this class can be created, and if already object is created, it will return the reference to the same object. So here we have created a variable called instance for the node database. So whenever this method is called, it will check if the instance is null, then it will execute this line of code. Otherwise, it will return the reference to the same object that this variable is pointing to, right? So here we have set the synchronized lock. That means if one operation is being carried out on this class with the help of this class, then there should be a synchronization log. No two operations should be carried out at a single point of time, right? So that's why we have set this synchronized log. And here we have used the room class to create the database, and we have passed the context as an application context, and for the database we have passed the object of this class, and this database name we are going to create, we are going to define inside our utilities package, right? So let us just create that class as well. So right click here on the utilities, new Kotlin class file, just select file and name it as constants, right? So you'll get this class, and here we are going to define all the constants that will be using inside our app, right? So as if now I'll just define one constant, that is the database name, right? And we'll set it to node database. So now we are going to import this. Yeah. So we have got this error because we haven't implemented this class, right? Now this room node database class is created, and that is pretty much everything we need to do inside this class. Now the third thing we are going to create is new Kotlin class file, and we are going to name it as nodes repository, right? So this class will take an argument called node DAO of type node DAO, right? Let's just create well all nodes of type live data. That will be the list of nodes, right? Pressed all enter is equal to node DAO dot get all, right? So we are going to call this method get all nodes from this DAO, right? We have created here. So this will get all the nodes. So this all nodes will represent all the nodes that are there in the form of the live data, right? Now we are going to create a suspend function called insert, and it will take the argument of node, and similarly here we'll call the insert in the node now, right? The next one will be delete. We'll get the node here as well, and we are going to call node dot delete, and we'll pass the node here, right? The next is update. So we'll get the node here as well, but whenever we are passing node dot update, so here we'll pass the ID, the title, and the node, right? That the way we have mentioned here. So what this function will take is it will take the ID, the title, and the node, right? So for that we'll define node dot ID, node dot title, and node dot, right? So what this repository class will do is it will act as an intermediate to our, for example, our main activity and to our database. So all these functions are called from the node class, right? We have created all the functions, so we are calling same functions to get all the nodes. We have this function get all nodes. For inserting a new node, we'll call this insert function. For deleting, we'll call delete, and similarly for updating the node, we'll call this update function, right? So okay, we are pretty much done with the repository class. So now we are going to create the adapter for a recycler view. So for that, just right click here, new Kotlin class file, and we are going to name it as nodes adapter, right? So inside this, we are going to create inner class called node view holder, right? And we'll take a argument as item view of type view, extend the Recyclerview dot view holder, just click here, alt enter. Let me just zoom it a bit. So okay, this is our inner class. So now our main class, that is nodes adapter, it will take two arguments, private val context of type context, right? And the second is the item listener. We'll just skip that for now. Recyclerview dot adapter, so nodes adapter dot node view holder, right? So here we're getting error, so just click here, implement members, and we are going to implement all the three members, right? So let me just cut it from here and paste it at the end. All right. So here we'll define two array lists. So I'll name it as nodes list, right? The list of type node, right? And another one that is private wall. Just name it as for list of type node. So what these two lists will represent is, so this is the array list that we are going to show at a given point of time in the recycler view, right? And this is the full list. This full list will contain all the elements that are there we are going to fetch from the database. So what we are going to do is we are going to manipulate only this list, right? So after that, okay, we are getting error here. Yeah. So for this get item count, we are going to return the size of the nodes list. Nodes list dot size. We're going to return this, right? And now we're going to implement this node view holder. So for this, we are going to define nodes layout is equal to item view dot find view by id. Here we have the card view r dot id dot, let us just go to our list item, and I guess we haven't given any id yet, so let us just give it id. Let me just name it as card layout. So we are going to refer this at our nodes adapter. So r dot, just implement this, so r dot id dot card layout, right? And similarly after that we are going to refer to the titles. So item view dot find view by id, and this time it will be text view, and r dot id dot, and the title for this will be this one, tv title, right? Well, node is equal to item view find view by id, and this will also be text view only. So r dot id dot, just see this one, so it's tv node. The last one will be date. Yes, name it like this. Let me just change this, right? So tv date is equal to item view dot find view by id, will also be text view only. So r dot id dot tv date, right? Let us just see, this is the one. Yeah. So basically what we have done is we have referred to this card view, this layout, and all the three elements that are there, that is title, node, and date, right? So we have referred to all these view items inside this node view holder. So after this we are going to implement this on create view holder. So here we'll return road view holder layout inflator from, and we'll pass the context here dot inflate r dot layout dot, what was the id, card layout it was. So list item, so we'll refer to this particular item, and the second argument will be parent, one will be false, right? So we'll return the object of this class node view holder. So we have implemented this method on create view holder. So after that we are going to implement on bind view holder. So val current node is equal to nodes list, and we'll pass the position here. So after that, sorry, holder dot title dot text is equal to current node dot title, right? And similarly, holder dot nodes tv dot text. Don't worry, I'll just explain it in a bit. So title, and we'll pass note here, and similarly holder dot date dot text is equal to current node dot date, right? So what we have done is we have this nodes list, right? So in this nodes list we have all the elements that are shown in the cycler view that we want to show inside the cycler view. So we have set the text, that means the title of the text of the title, the text of the description of the node, and the date to the current node title, description, and date, right? And we are going to set one more attribute. So holder dot title dot is selected is equal to true, and for this date as well, holder dot date dot is selected is equal to true, right? So these are the attributes that we need to set as of now. So we have implemented all the methods. Now we are going to create one more method called random color generator. As you know that all the nodes have different colors and those are randomly generated. So for that we are going to create a method called one random color, right? And it will return the integer. So for this we need to define certain colors inside our color file. So just go here to colors, and I have already defined these 6 colors. So you can define as many colors as you want, and the colors can be of your own choice. So if you want to copy, you can just copy these colors, or you can create your own colors as well. So I have taken 6 colors. So our nodes will be of these 6 colors, right? The background of these nodes will be of this 6 color. So we'll just go to our adapter, and here we are going to create an array list. So I'll name it as val list is equal to array list of type int, right? So we are going to add certain elements. So list dot add r dot colors dot, let me see what name we have given. So node color 1. So we'll just copy it 6 times. Yeah. So color 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have this array list which contain the resource ID of these 6 colors, right? So now what we have to do is whenever someone calls this number random color, then we have to return a random color out of the resource ID of the any color out of these 6 colors. So for that, what we'll do is, so first we have to create a seed. So val seed is equal to system dot current time in millis dot to int, right? So this is the seed. I'll just explain what we are doing. So the second thing is, we are going to get a random index. So random index is equal to random, and we are going to pass the seed here to next int, and here we'll pass the size of the list. So list dot size, and here we're going to return list dot random index, right? So basically we have this class already defined, random, right? And we can create any random index. So for this, you have to give the size of the list. So that means I have given the size to 0 to 5. So it will just create a random index from 0 to 5. And we have to pass the seed here. Based on this seed, it will create a random pattern. So the time will always change. That's why I have taken this variable. So whenever this method is called, this seed will be changed. So there will be no repetition in the flow of the colors, right? So basically whenever someone calls this method, a random color will be, the resource ID of the different color will be given at that time, right? So now we're going to use this. So holder dot nodes layout dot set card background color. So holder dot item view dot resources dot get color. So here we'll just pass that function random color, right? So okay, whenever we have to set the background color for that card, we will just call this method and we'll get a different color. So we'll just set that color as the background of the art card, right? So this is how a random number is generated, or sorry, a random color is generated, and that has been set to the background of the node, right? So after this, we need to create an interface. Let me just create here interface called nodes item click listener. So basically it will define two methods, one on item clicked, and it will take note as an argument, right? And the second one is fun on logged item clicked. It will take two arguments. The very first one is node and the second one is card view, right? So okay, this is the interface. So basically in the main activity we are going to implement these methods. So just let me just delete this, and I forgot to do it a camel case. Let's just do that as well. Yeah, so this is the interface that we have created. Basically it has two functions, on item clicked and on long item clicked, right? So we'll just go to our on bind view folder, and first we have to define here, it will take one more argument, val listener yeah of type nodes click listener, right? Now we'll just come here inside this on bind view folder. So holder dot nodes layout dot set on click listener listener dot on item clicked. So we'll just set the on click listener on the item, right, of the holder that has been clicked. So we'll just implement this listener in the main activity. So we are pretty much done with our own bind view holder, right? Yeah. Let's just set the nodes layout dot set on long click listener. So listener dot on long item clicked nodes list folder dot adapter position, and the second argument will be folder dot nodes layout, right? Return true here. So we have implemented the on click listener or and long click listener. So we have basically set it on each item, right? So yeah, we are done with this on bind view holder now. So now we are going to create another two functions. So the very first function will be update list. So it will take new list of type note. So whenever user calls this method, what we want to do is we want to clear this full list and we want to set this list to a new list, right? So for that, we'll just call full list dot clear, right? First, we want to clear all the elements inside the full list, and then full list dot add all. We want to add all the elements of this new list to the full list, and similarly nodes list dot clear and nodes list dot add all of the full list, right? We want to add all the elements of the full list to the nodes list that we're going to display inside the Recyclerview. So you'll understand why we have created this method once we code inside the main activity, right? And we'll call notify dataset changed. And one more method that we're going to create here is one filter list. So this method will be called whenever user types anything in the search bar. So it will be of type string. So we'll just get this argument, whatever the characters that the user is typing. So we'll get this character as this search variable, right? So what we'll do is first we'll create clear the nodes list dot clear. Now we'll run the for loop. So item in full list. So we are going to iterate through all the items that are there inside the full list. If item dot title lowercase contains search. So if one second, true or item dot note to lowercase dot contains search lowercase is equal to true. So if this is the case, we want to add node to nodes list dot add this item, right? So what we have done is we will get the string that the user has typed into the search box in this variable search, right? So we'll compare if the title contains that particular string or the description of the node contains that, we'll add that particular node to our nodes list, right? Because we have cleared all the nodes from the nodes list here, then we have added it here, right? So this is the case. So either it should be in the title or in the description, right? So after this for list, we'll again called notify dataset change. So it will notify the adapter that we have changed the data. Now you need to refresh the data inside the recycler, right? So okay, we are getting some error here because I have done the same mistake, right? So we are getting these two error as well because, let's just see. Okay, because there is some typo, we have to type is equal to here, right? So that is it for the adapter class, right? We have created the adapter for our Recyclerview. Now we are going to move to our main activity. So now we just need to implement the main activity and add node, right? So now we are going to implement this main activity first. So inside this main activity, first we are going to implement the view binding. So private latent var, we'll just name it as binding, right? So binding is equal to activity main binding dot inflate, and we'll pass the layout inflator here, and in the set content we'll pass binding dot root, right? So this is the thing that we always do for view binding, right? So after that we are going to declare certain variables. So the very first one will be private latent var, we'll name it as database of type no database, and the next one will be latent var view model of type node view model, latent var adapter of type nodes adapter, and the last one will be selected node of type node, right? So these are the variables that we need to define. So let's just import this, alt enter, yeah, this one, right? So now here we are going to call a method called init UI, and let's just create this method, right? And this is for initializing the UI. So we are going to implement this method just a while. So after that we are going to create view model is equal to view model provider, pass the context here, and the second argument will be view model provider dot ender model factory dot get instance, and here we will pass the application context dot get nodes node view model class dot java, right? So we have initialized this view model here, right? So after that view model dot all nodes dot observe this list dot let adapter dot update list, and we'll pass the list here. So okay, let's just move this out of the parentheses. So basically we are going to observe all the nodes that are there through this view model, and whenever there is any change in the nodes, then we are going to call the update list method that we have created in the adapter class. So we are going to call this method because then we want to clear the full list and the nodes list, and we want to update the list according to the new list that will be passed here, right? So this is view model. So after that, database is equal to node database dot get database, and we'll pass this here. Now let us just initialize this method to implement this init UI. So the very first thing is we are going to the Recyclerview dot set has fixed size to true. So after that, let us just set the layout. Recyclerview dot set layout manager is equal to, we want the staggered grid layout. We want the 2 rows, and the orientation should be linear layout dot vertical. After that, adapter is equal to nodes adapter. Yeah, so we'll pass the context here and the listener. Don't worry about this error, we are just going to create this as well. So binding dot Recyclerview dot adapter is equal to adapter, right? So after that, we are going to create get content is equal to activity for result, activity result context. Make sure you implement this one, androidx.activity.result contract, right? Dot start activity for result. If result code is equal to activity dot result, okay. So basically we are registering this get content for the activity result. That means whenever the user taps on the floating action button to create a new node, then we want that we get the result out of that activity. So if the result code is okay, that means everything is fine and we are getting the content. Then what we want to do with it, so we want to insert that particular node inside our database, right? So val node is equal to result dot data dot get serializable extra, and here I'll just pass node as node, right? So if node is not equal to null, then view model dot insert, okay. So okay, I guess we forgot to declare certain methods here, so let us just quickly do that as well. So we want to declare three methods here for deleting, update, and insert the node. So one delete node, and we'll get the node here as an argument, right? Is equal to view model scope dot launch dispatches.io repository dot delete, and we'll pass the node here. And similarly we are going to create a method called insert node. View model scope dot launch dispatches.io repository dot update, and we'll pass the node here. So basically we have defined these three methods for deleting, insert, and update the node, right? So now let us just use this method insert node, and we'll pass the node here, right? So after that, binding dot, let us just see if we have given the id to our floating fb add node, fb add node dot set on click listener. So whenever user taps on this button, val intent is equal to new intent, and we have the add node. So get content dot launch, and we'll pass the intent here, right? So what we have done is we whenever user taps on this floating action button, we have created the intent for the next activity, that is add node, and we have called this get content that we have created here. So basically this activity will be created as a result launch activity, right? We are expecting some result out of this. So after that, binding dot, is it the search view? Let me just see the id for this. Search view only. Binding dot search view dot set one query text listener object of search view dot on query text listener. So let us just implement the members. So return false here. So whenever user types anything inside this search view here, so this particular method will be called, and whenever there is a change in the text, then what we want to do is we want to call this method filter list, right? We want to filter the list, so we are going to call this method here. So let us just change the name to new text. So if new text is not equal to null, then what we want to do is adapter dot filter list, and we want to pass this text here, and here we'll return true. So whenever user types anything inside the search view, then we want to filter the list and we want to update the recycler view according to this new text, right? So after that, let's just create private one is equal to register for activity result. Start activity for results. Result code is equal to result okay, then val note is equal to result dot data dot get serializable extra. You get the note here. It's not right. If note is not equal to null, then we want to call view model dot update note and we'll update this, right? So basically the second activity can be called in two circumstances. The very first one is whenever user taps on that floating action button, that means he has to create a new node. In that case, we want to call this instance, and if user taps on a node that is already there, then that means he want to update the node, then we want to use this one, right? So for using this thing, let me just come here on item clicked and long click. So for that we have to implement nodes click listener, and we have to implement these two members, right? So whenever user taps on any item, we want to update that node. So for that, val intent is equal to intent this at the rate main activity, and here we want to pass add node class dot java. And here we want to update node dot launch, and we want to pass this intent here, right? Also we want to put intent dot put extra, and we want to pass the current node here because we want to update that particular node, so we will just pass this node. After that, we need to set the selected node as node. So whenever user long clicks on any node, we want to set that particular node as a selected node, and we want to call the method called popup display, and here we'll pass this, right? So let's just create this. Val is equal to pop-up menu, right? Menu dot set on menu click listener. Here we'll pass this. So we are getting this error because we haven't After this, pop-up menu dot on item click listener, and here we need to implement the members, right? So let us just change the name to item. So if item ID is equal to r.id dot delete note, I guess. Let us just check here. Yeah, delete note if ID matches this. So view model dot delete note, and we'll pass this note here. We'll pass the selected note here, right? And here we'll return true. Here we'll return false, right? So okay, we are pretty much done with our main activity. Now let's move on to add note activity. So first, let the view binding thing be done with. Right. Now let us just declare certain variables here. So we have declared these three variables. So is update is false. That means this will track if the note is updated or new note is created, and initially we have set it to false. This will give us the new note, updated one. This is the old note. So after this, we are going to put this inside try catch block. Old note is equal to intent dot get serializable extra, and here we'll pass the same thing that we have passed here. That is current node. Oops. Copy this. There should not be any typo here, right? So binding dot title right, and similarly binding dot et note, I guess, dot set text old note dot note. So is update is equal to true. So we have put it inside the try catch block. That means if the conditions are executed till here without throwing any error, that means this activity was called to update the node, right? So this was called for that. So we'll just set this to true. Now after this, we know that we have to update the node whenever user taps on this item. Let me just show you. Whenever user taps on this tech button, we have to update the node, right? So catch exception e dot, yeah. So after that, binding dot img check dot set on click listener. So whenever user taps on this particular thing here, right, either he wants to update the node or he wants to create a new node, right? So for that, val title is equal to binding dot et title dot text dot toString. Similarly, we'll get the node as byname dot etnode dot text dot toString, right? If title is not empty or node is not empty, then val formatter is equal to simple formatter. Yeah, so we have set the pattern for our date. So this is how our date should look like. So if is update is true, that means we have to update the node. So for that, node is equal to node old node dot id. The second thing is title, so we'll just pass the new title if the user has changed it, and we'll pass this node. And for the date, we'll pass formatter dot format date, right? Else, okay, let's just call it description. Yeah, we don't want to pass any id here. We'll pass the title, node description, so now val intent is equal to intent dot put extra node, and we'll pass the node here. Set result activity dot result okay, and we'll pass the intent here. Right? Else toast dot make text, and we'll just make a toast saying that please enter some data. Toast dot length short and show, right? Yeah, and here also should be no description. So okay, we are pretty much done with everything, but you can see we are getting these two errors right here and in the main activity as well. This is because we have to make it serializable, right? So you can see these errors are gone. So this is the complete Notes app that we have developed as of now. So there might be some errors. So let us just build this app and install it to our emulator and see if it is working fine or not, right? So let me just install this to my device. Let's go to emulator, run this emulator. So okay guys, while building the app I was getting some errors, so I just figured it out. If you just go to build.gradle, right, this file, so make sure that these particular versions, right, it should be 7.2.0, 7.2.0, 1.6.21, and you should add this as well. Task clean is equal to this thing. This might not be there if you're creating the project right now in this version of Android Studio. So make sure you manually type this, and these versions should be like this, and then you build the app. If you're getting any error related to this node DAO, right, regarding this update function, then make sure you modify this build.gradle file, right, project level build.gradle file, and then you try to rebuild the project. So now let us just install this app to our emulator. So yeah, let's just install this. So this is our app. So we have got this search view, right, and this floating action button. So if we tap on this button, we have moved to the next activity. So let us just name it as note 1 and type this is the first note of our, right. We just tap on this button, so you can see the note has been created and it is displayed here. And if I just want to update it, I have updated the note, right. So you can see I have updated the node. So you can see that it doesn't look very nice here because we have not, while building the app, we haven't done detailing of this thing, right. So now let us just do the modifications that are required in this file, then we'll see how it looks, right. So the attribute that we are going to do here is this one, forever. So what this will do is, if the title text is longer, for example, if I just give a longer name to this note one, it will scroll from right to left, right. So the next thing will be, we want to give it a padding of ATP. Yeah, so these are the settings for our title. Now let us just go to our note. So the very first thing is max lines, we'll set it to 10. We'll give it a padding of 8 dp only, right, and we'll just delete this and set text style to, right. So this is for the note, and the last is date. Okay, okay, we need to give it a gray color, so that is not there in our colors file. So let us just add the gray color. So this is the hex code for the color. Now just go to list item, just delete this, and we're going to copy the marquee setting. Set the max lines to 10, padding of 80p. I guess we are good to go. Now let us just try to reinstall this app and see how does it go. So you can see now this node looks really good, right? So it gives a good vibe. Earlier it was not so neat and clean. So yeah. Now if I just create another node, node 2, and this is our node 2 from the app. And here also if you see, I couldn't go to the next line, right? So for that we have to go to our add node activity, and here we have this edit text. We need to modify certain attributes for this as well. So here we need to modify this attribute input type to text multiple line, right? So now it will allow us to add the text in multiple lines. So now let us just again rebuild the app. So now let us just try to add the another node, node 2. This is our second node from the right. So if I just press enter, so I can go to next line, right? I just tap here. You can see it automatically takes the size of the node. And if I just want to search something, for example SCR, right? So this node contains this particular text. If I just delete this, whole nodes gets displayed, right? So search functionality is working fine. So let us see if we can edit the nodes. So if I just delete this and tap here, the node gets updated, right? So I guess the app is working perfectly fine. All the functions that we have included in this app are, we are good to go with them, right? And I also hope that you guys have understood the code of the app. I know it's a big code, but make sure that if you are, any concept of yours is not clear, for example, you're not clear with the room DB repository, how does the view model works, right? And anything like that, for example, Recyclerview, make sure that you watch those videos first, then you come to this project video, because this is quite a big project, not very big, but at the basic or the initial level, it's a good project to start with. So I hope that you guys have understood everything, right? But still, if you have any doubt, you can always come to our Discord server. On weekends I try to come to Discord server, and sometimes I'm not able to reply you on Instagram, but whenever I get the time, I always make sure that I do reply on all the messages that I get on Instagram, or the doubts that we have in the comment section. Due to some busy schedule, the response might get delayed, but I always try to give it on time. So if you guys have understood the code and you like the video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And in case you're new to this channel and want to watch similar tutorials, I'll be posting the projects tutorial in the upcoming videos. Make sure that you join our family and tap on that subscribe button, and also tap on that bell icon that is there adjacent to the subscribe button. So that is pretty much everything from my side in this video. So see you in another video. Bye.